Alright, welcome back to CS295, week 4. This is the last lesson. We're going to go over post. So this should be a lot shorter now that you've set up a form, you see how gets work. We're mostly going to talk about the difference between post and gets. So if we go back to our form now, both of these will work. And again, you click this, it'll grab this data as we set up in the file manager, and then it will send it over. And in this case, and this is something that's going to be a good thing to point out right now, if you just go to this page, it's not going to do anything, right? So let's go ahead and build the page. Now this is that page I just copied over the thing, because really the only difference is it all has the same thing, right? It still sends over the name. This code is pretty much all the same. You could probably just guess if I just change this to post, it now works, right? So that's the only change. So this is pretty much the exact same page. I added the post instead of get. It'll, and I told you already, I named them the same thing. So let's just go ahead and real quick look at that form one more time, right? Because this is all in the same form, when I click this, it's just going to grab these two. Even though there's two down here, it's just going to grab these two because I clicked it, right? That's what putting the form together does. So we ran this already. We're going to run this one and do a post. So I'll go ahead and go back to the post code so we can look at that. And then this is going to be the post. But now that I've updated it, and maybe this one, double check, post, right? It doesn't have anything there. Now, sometimes, and maybe this server has some things on it, right? Sometimes that breaks it, normally breaks it. I'm not quite surprised it doesn't break it, but let's go ahead and do it for real, right? So let's go ahead and set a cursor name, so test 2, because it's our second one, test 2.@email.com. We run the post. Again, you notice it is now the post page, and then test 2, and then test 2. But notice there's nothing up there at the top, right? So if I refresh this like I did before, it goes away, right? It goes away. There's nothing there because it only goes to the server. It doesn't come back. So that's kind of the big difference, right? Post, you don't see it. It goes to the server. It runs it, as we just saw. It worked fine, right? So you can see when you actually post to it. Now we're going to learn as we go through how to say if there is a post, say, hey, you didn't give me a post, right? So we'll learn that in another week. But for now, realize post and get work pretty much the same way as far as the code is. You just kind of change the get and the post around when you're trying to do it. But as far as a web page is concerned, right? As far as a web page is concerned, they react a lot differently, right? So this is the get. It gets sent to the server, and then the server processes it and sends it back to you, right? And remember, it doesn't look like what we type. There's no PHP in there, so it gets it. And then from a post standpoint, and then it sends it back, right? And then it sends it back as for the URL. So you can see the get. And then what's nice about that is whenever you send this URL back again, it sends those same gets for you. So if you send this URL, it will send these gets, and that's what allows you to change this, right? Because it sends this as a get as well as when you're sending this, right? So there's two ways to run that get. Is send it through this, or if you just update the URL. But post doesn't do that, right? Post will not allow you to do that. It only runs when you run the post. See, it worked. But if I try to go to this page directly, it doesn't work, right? I'm going directly to, that's what that was, going directly to that page. Again, I can show you another example where I'm going directly to this page. It doesn't work. Whereas the get, right, if I take this and I go directly to that page, it works. And those are the key differences between a get and a post. So that's all there really is to it. We'll get more practice through this week. and then we'll learn a little bit more functions, try to protect yourself from that. Like, hey, you didn't actually send me anything. You can do the same thing for get, but again, there's these things to protect yourself. That's all I have for this one. We'll see you next week.